Hey guys, it's Caleb. Today in the shop we have a Polaris RZR Pro R, and we've got a new mud flap kit, fender extension kit, and we're going to show you how to install it. So let's go ahead and get right into that install. Here are the tools that you'll need for install. You'll need some blue painter's tape for the rear tail light. We'll be using it to protect it when we're installing the last screw. You'll need a 4mm Allen key. You'll need a T40 Torx, a 10mm socket, a Phillips head driver, a drill with a 5/32 drill bit, and then we'll also be using this driver with our Phillips head drive. Here we have the front laid out. What you'll get in your kit is your main flap, you'll get your front shim, you'll get your front support plate, you'll get your front lower, and then you'll get your front mounting bracket, and then the hardware. We'll go ahead and put a breakdown of that hardware on the screen right now. Before we head over to the vehicle, we're going to do some pre-assembly on the bench here. First, we're going to take our lower, we're going to flip it so that the etching is face down. Then we're going to take our flange nuts and we're just going to press them into each of these holes here. Now with those pre-assembled, we can set that to the side and work on our main flap assembly. What we're going to do is we're going to take our main flap, we're going to flip it over, we're going to take our shim, flip it over, aligning it with the holes in the flap. This hole, and this hole will align. Then we're going to take our brackets and we're going to set those up so that they align with these two holes. Now we're going to take our ABS plate and align the entire assembly up with all 5 holes. And then we're just going to go ahead, take our longer 25mm countersunks with a dress washer. We're going to take those and we're going to start putting them in from the top side, and so that they come out on the bottom here. And then we're just going to lightly put this assembly together just by getting it all the screws hand tight. Alright, with all of those hand tight, now we can go ahead and we're going to fully tighten these 3 down, which is going to set the alignment of this plate to your flap here. So let's go ahead, tighten those up. To do so, we're just going to use a 4mm Allen key and a 10mm socket. Go ahead, lift this up on its side. Go ahead. Get these 3 snug down, leaving the 2 with brackets loose for adjustment when we get the flap mounted. Alright, and that's the front assembly. All we'll need to do now is go ahead and we're just going to put some bends in our bend lines, like so. With those bent, we're now good to take our components over to the vehicle and begin installing. Here we are at the front of the vehicle. We're going to be working on the front fender here. We're going to be removing the screw here, here, and here, and then we'll also be removing the 2 screws here, and all of these are that T40 Torx. So let's take it and we'll go ahead and get those removed. Now all of these should be the 1-inch Polaris screws. If you have any of the 1/2-inch ones in here, you may need to shift some around from neighboring locations. But you'll want 5 of the 1-inch screws, and we'll be reusing these to mount the bracket and the upper 2 brackets right here. So we'll set these to the side, we'll grab our bracket, and we'll begin mounting. So we're going to take our bracket, it's going to go ahead, and the recess tabs right here and right here are going to line up with the recesses in your fender. So we'll go ahead, get those into place, and we'll take those factory screws and just put them directly back into where they came from. And same with this third location down here. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to push this up against the body, and we're going to tighten these upper two holes here. Getting those nice and tight. Be careful not to strip out the factory Polaris clips, or you may have to replace them and get inside the fender. So we'll get them nice and snug without over tightening them. And that's going to bend the tabs in as well as make the bracket sit where it should. Now we're going to go ahead and move down to this bottom screw. And get that fully tightened down. Now with that fully snugged up, we can grab our flap and begin mounting at the upper two locations right there. Alright, so we're going to take our flap, place a screw on our driver here. We're going to hold it into position, and we're going to start with this middle bracket right here, setting our flap like so. We're just going to screw directly into that factory location right there. That started, we can move up to the one closer to the nose. I'm not going to fully tighten those just yet. We'll just get them snug so that way it holds our flap in position. And keep in mind, that's why we kept those brackets loose, so we can move the flap and get it adjusted into position. Now we're going to go ahead and begin mounting the flap to the main bracket right here at all three of these upper locations and then these two lower locations using 20mm countersunk screws with dress washers. So here we have our 20mm countersunks with dress washers, our large washers, and our 5 lock nuts. So we're going to go ahead, put that through the hole right here. Take a washer and a lock nut. And we're going to put that on the inside here, like so. And we're just going to work our way down the fender. Now that we have all 5 of those installed, we're going to go ahead, switch our driver to the 4mm Allen key, and grab our 10mm socket. And we're going to start with this upper hole here, and we're going to tighten that. But we're also going to push the flap up against the body. Push it up, minimizing the gap right here, closing that up as tightly as we can. And then we're just going to work our way down the fender. Alright, now that those 5 are fully tightened on the main bracket, we're going to go ahead, we're going to work on the top here, and we're going to adjust the flap to where we like it, getting this gap here nice and even along the top. Then we're going to go ahead, holding it in place, we're going to take our screwdriver and tighten that down. And after we've tightened both of those down, we're going to switch back to that T40 Torx, and we're going to go ahead and fully secure these brackets on the side, tightening these both down fully. Now our last step for the main portion of the flap is we're going to take our 5/16 drill bit and we're going to drill through these 2 additional holes on the side of the bracket, right here and right here. So we're going to take our drill, we're just going to center that in that hole, and we're going to drill nice slow into the plastic. With those holes both drilled, we're going to take our push inserts and I'll put those through like so. After you've got your upper pin put in, we're going to go ahead and move down to the bottom hole here and take our second insert, put it in there, push it in to secure. Now we're going to go ahead, grab our lower flap and attach that. We're going to take our lower flap, we're going to take our thumb screws, we're going to go ahead, align the holes, and get those thumb screws started. Now that we've got those all started, we're just going to go ahead, fully tighten those down by hand. Alright, and that's the completed install. You can repeat those same steps for the front on the other side. Now let's go ahead and jump to the rear. Here we have the rear laid out. What you'll get in your kit is your rear main flap, you'll get your rear mount plate, you'll get your rear lower or accent, and then you'll get your rear support plate. Then you'll get your bag of hardware. We'll go ahead and put a breakdown of that hardware kit on the screen right now. Before we head over to the vehicle, we're going to go ahead and pre-assemble some of these parts and get them ready for install. So to begin, we're just going to open up our hardware. And take 3 of our 20mm countersunk screws, 3 dress washers, 3 regular washers, and 3 lock nuts. And we're going to place our support plate underneath our main plate, aligning the 3 holes here with the 3 holes here, and then the 3 mount holes here will be left open. So we're going to go ahead, align these, and mount at those locations. So we'll get that set up. There we go. Now I'm just going to put a screw down through the top here, placing a large washer and a lock nut on the bottom side. Align the additional holes, and we'll do the same to those 2 as well. With that in place, we can go ahead and tighten that down. We're going to take our 10mm socket and our 4mm Allen key. We're going to go ahead and tighten that down. Alright, now with that complete, we're going to go ahead and we're going to prep our mount plate here with the M6 clips. To do so, we're going to take them and we're going to have it so that they're poking out like so. So when you lay this over top, they'll be pointing towards the top side. Go ahead, get those all, sliding them from the rectangular hole over the circle hole and just clicking those into place. Now our mount plate is ready for install. We can go ahead, take our components, go over to the vehicle, and continue installing. Here we are at the rear of the vehicle. We're going to begin installing our fender flare. Before we begin, we're actually going to place just a little piece of tape over the taillights here, just so we don't scratch them when we are working around them. So, shouldn't take a piece of blue painter's tape, and we're just going to cover that top section like so. With that covered, we can go ahead. We're going to grab our lower right here, and we're going to grab the 3 press-in inserts. Here we have the lower. It is designed to have additional protection on the outside as well as in the inside. It's going to be also an air dam and kind of a splash guard for the side pockets here. A lot of owners of the Pro chassis, we have found that they get lots of wheel spray coming forward, going into the cab through this side pocket here and through the upper gaps here, just up in this area. This is going to block all of that. So to begin, we're just going to go ahead and tuck it up into place, aligning the 3 holes. I want to push in our inserts just to hold that in place. With those just pressed in just enough to hold the flap in place, we're not going to push in the cores just yet. Now we're going to go ahead, grab our main flap, and put these connections here after bending that little tab. So let's grab our main flap and continue installing. Here we have our main flap assembly. We're going to go ahead and bend this nose piece right at the bend line here. Now we're going to take it. The bend is going to go over top of the lower piece here. It's going to go underneath the fender right here, and then this little tab right here is going to slide in between the body line in this gap right here. So we'll go ahead, get that into place. It's going to slide up in there, and that's just going to hold it in place while you come up to the front and begin making this connection. To do so, we're going to grab our 2 small washers, of the lock nuts, and 2 of the 20mm countersunk screws. I'm going to take those, put them through the dress washers, and we're going to take these from the front and we're going to put them through both layers like so, aligning up the lower with the upper. Now we can go ahead, grab our 4mm and our 10mm and tighten those down. We're going to make sure the edge here is nice and flush, and then we'll go ahead and tighten these both down. Okay, now with that in place, we're going to go up inside the fender here. We're going to align the inside of our main flap with the inside of your fender, and that's going to set our alignment for the main flap. Once that is aligned, we're going to take our 5/16 drill bit, and we're going to drill all 5 of these locations. Now with those drilled, we can go ahead. We're going to take our mount plate, and this is going to tuck up inside the fender, aligning with all of the components. if you come up here and take a look down through here, you can see where the clips will align with those 5 holes that we just drilled. So now we're going to go ahead, we're going to take our long button head screws, we're going to take our 5 long button head screws, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to get them started into the backing plate. Reaching up in here, I'm going to go through the hole we just drilled and then screw into each of those clips. It may take a second to get aligned. You can always move to an easier hole, so you can get your hand up on top, hold that clip in place. Once you get one, the rest should align easier. Alright, those in place. Go ahead, make sure you've got nice and tight. Everything's still aligned, and now we're going to go ahead, try and cut, we're going to go to back, turning these fold in. With those fully tightened down, we can take our Phillips head bit, we can take our final screw, which is going to be this inner location here. I'm going to take our washer, and you'll want to tuck it above the flap into that recess first, and then you can go ahead, get the screw started, take our drill, and we're just going to drill straight up into the body. It's just going to go straight up into the body. You'll want to make sure that that hole is aligned in the body. You don't want to have it out here and come through your fender. Once you've got that done, we can now go ahead, remove our tape. The rear is fully supported, and the last step is to just go ahead and we're going to press in, push in our inserts, and that will complete the install. That's how you install your RokBlokz fender flares for the Polaris Pro R. You can repeat these same steps on the other side. Thanks for watching.